Hello, and thank you for tuning in to mytv.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I have just officially found out that Prince has re-signed with Warner Brothers. I admit, I thought I was tripping. I thought drank too much coffee. Not until it was officially announced online that Prince Roger Nelson from Minneapolis has re-signed with Warner Brothers and regained the masters to all of his hit records. I would like to say congratulations to Prince. I'm proud of you, and I do remember you saying that you would get your masters back, and you've achieved that. I would like to say I'm really looking forward to you releasing real music again, because to me today's music is most of the time it's just it's artificial. It's definitely not real at all. I don't really feel anything. I mean, don't get me wrong. You may have a few recording artists that may put together a hit, or maybe a few hits, and okay, I might remember it. But with your music, for an example, 1978, when you came out with the album For You, I was 8 years old. I admit I didn't know who you were at all. Period. I just remember hearing the song Soft and Wet. I admit I didn't pay much attention to it. I knew it when I heard it, but that was about it. I was 8 years old. And that was about it. When you came out with your second album called Prince, I didn't notice until I did my research. I thought the song I Want to Be Your Lover was your first hit. I did not know that the song Why You Want to Treat Me So Bad was actually your first hit. So at that time, once again, I was still very young. I kind of didn't pay much attention to it. I heard the song I Want to Be Your Lover. I was a kid. I didn't really understand your lyrics. However, my brothers played you a lot. My older brothers. What kind of got my attention to you a little bit was when I heard the song Sexy Dancer off that same LP. My older brother was playing it. And I was a kid, I kind of blew it off. Anyways, when you came out with the album Dirty Mind, the song Uptown, they played it a lot. I'm from Detroit, so they played it a lot. In fact, what kind of made me start to pay attention to you, I'm going to back up a little bit. Rick James, the late Rick James, and you had a showdown in Detroit. I heard you won. That was the era of when you came out with the I Want to Be Your Lover LP. Rick James that came out with the LP Fire It Up. I believe one of his hit songs was Come Into My Life. Anyways, back to you. Dirty Mind. The song I heard a lot was Uptown. However, my oldest brothers bought your 8-track, Dirty Mind. They played it a lot. It didn't really get on my nerves. They really played it a lot. I mean, seriously, I remember hearing that album every day for a good 3 months. Every day. And so I ended up coming across not only Uptown, but all of the songs that was on that particular album. So I remember how my sisters reacted to your song Head. I remember a woman that lived in Inkster. Her name was Kathy. She went to see you in concert. You were promoting that particular album, and she said you threw a towel out in the audience, and she got it. She was obsessed with you. So again, I'm still a kid. I think I'm probably 11. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I would say that summer I was with my third oldest brother, and we were in Inkster, and he was playing your album in the car. It was my stepmother's vehicle. It was a four-door Pontiac Le Mans. So he was playing that particular album in the cassette player in the car. And it hit me when I heard the song Party Up. Now, mind you, all this time, I had no idea that it was just you playing all of those instruments. I'm going to back up briefly for a moment. I learned the album for you played all 27 instruments. Again, I was a kid. And like I said, reading, produced, arranged, performed by Prince. I kind of blew it off. I was like, okay, whatever. However, what really kind of started to reluctantly make me pay attention to your music was right between Dirty Mind and that summer, because The Time had came out. Their song was Get It Up and Cool. And I was like, it was the song The Stick, actually, that kind of made me start. I was like, wow, they kind of sound like Prince. But again, wasn't paying much attention to it. Really didn't hit me. So, you released the album Controversy. It was, I paid attention to it. I did. What song got my attention? Because, what I really liked, The Scene. There was a hit dance show, The Scene, and it was hosted by Nat Morris, directed by R.J. Watkins on Channel 62. What I enjoyed, they always played your videos on the night time. I think it was called Soul Beat, if I'm not mistaken. They always played your videos. So I was like, oh, so Prince is going to be on. They're going to show his videos. They always showed the video. I think it was called Dirty Mind. Bobby Z was on the drums at the time. You were wearing leg warmers, brief underwear, and a trench coat with the red and white bandana. And again, I was like, okay, all right, no big deal. So when Controversy came out, I did like Less Work. That was cool. I liked the extended version. That was cool. My third oldest brother had purchased your album, and it was played a lot. My sister and my cousin Kermit went to go see you. Actually, my brother went to go see you too. He took some pictures of you. And again, I was like, okay, I knew who you were. At that point, I started, somewhat paying attention to your music. However, so what did it? 1983. You came out with, it was What Time Is It? 7/7/93/11. Gigolos Get Lonely Too. Wild and Loose. You came out with Vanity 6. So at that point, and then a lot of people on the hit TV show The Scene were imitating you. I was like, okay, let me pay more attention to this guy. So what really got my attention, that you came out with the album 1999. I was still very young. They played the song 1999 a lot. A whole lot. It was a young lady across the street from me when I lived on Coventry named Tanya Hall. She had went to go see you. And she bought your album, and it was a double album. So I admit I liked you, but the song 1999 made me just a little paranoid about people running around and all, skies all purple and all that stuff. What made me start to really pay attention to you when I heard Little Red Corvette, the 12-inch version of that musical composition, and I was getting into girls. What other song was on there? Actually, I liked the whole album. So I'm like, okay. So that song did really well. Everybody was playing it. So at that point, I was starting to actually become a Prince fan of some sort, I would say. So I hadn't heard anything from you. I think you came out with the song Irresistible Bitch. I like that one. That was dope. You came out with another song, Horny Toad. I like that one. That was cool. Then I hadn't heard nothing from you. So I was like, okay, what was that guy? Yeah, Mojo, Detroit, radio DJ. He played your music a lot, and so I'm like, okay, I hadn't heard nothing from you. So they was lying and saying some things that I'm not going to repeat. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you come out with. Well, I heard that you were coming out with a movie. I kind of didn't believe it. I was like, yeah, whatever. But I ended up hearing the song When Doves Cry. And I really liked that song. I was like, okay, that's dope. So I was paying attention to you. I saw the video. I was like, oh, okay, that's dope. That's cool. All right. So at that time, I was about, I was 14. So they came out with that song. Then MTV showed your song from the same Purple Rain album, Let's Go Crazy. I'm like, okay, that was cool. Darling Nikki, okay, that was cool. Oh, you had came out with 17 Days. That was dope. I was like, all right, that was nice. Then, let me see, what else did you come out with? Well, they started like promoting, the movie you were coming out with. So I was like, oh, okay. So I went to go see the movie. It was cool. My sister that's deceased now, she was a big fan of you. So I still kind of wasn't paying attention to your music that much. I like that you were different. I like that. Very different. You pushed the envelopes. So at this point, and then, okay, the movie did really well. Then you started like dropping all different types of music. And I always liked that you went the extra mile. I didn't know anybody that was making 12-inch songs that like how you were doing. So at that point, I was like, okay, I had the Purple Rain album. I played it a lot. Then after the success of Purple Rain, I think you came out with My Sugar Walls with Sheena Easton. Jesse Johnson that came out with his album that was strongly influenced with the Minneapolis sound. Apollonia 6, Sack Shooter, I like the 12-inch version of that. Let's see, what else? You were doing a lot of things that really got my attention. So much so that it actually inspired me to actually start playing music. I hadn't intended to become a one-man's band, but being in the hood, a lot of people, a lot of lip service, I unintentionally became a one-man's band by listening to your music, and I thank you for that. However, they were announcing on the radio, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Mojo at that time, and the popular radio station FM 98 was saying that you were coming out with an album called Around the World in a Day. And they played, if I'm not mistaken, the song they played was Paisley Park. So a lot of people was negative about it. I heard it the first time. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, all right. So I was going to Persian High School at the time. And a classmate of mine had bought your album, and at that time, CDs and iPods and iPhones and all that stuff was not released to the public. So we just had cassette players. He allowed me to listen to your album. So I heard Raspberry Beret. I liked that when I played that song a lot. I end up getting the 12-inch version when it came out. I end up liking the song America. I got the 12-inch version to that. And once again, you were still coming out with all different types of music yourself. And you were producing a lot of other music that was doing really well in the charts. You and Sheila E. had came out with Love Prezar. I like that one. I like the 12-inch version to that one. So it was cool. I was like, okay. So then I learned that you had also started your record label, Paisley Park Records. So I'm like, oh, okay, what's that about? Didn't understand the politics of the business, but I noticed you had opened your own record label. So I was like, all right, that's cool. So I learned you were coming out with another movie called Under the Cherry Moon. They had already started, releasing the song Kiss. Again, Mojo, he played the 12-inch version. I liked that one, was playing that one. Then the DJs, which just one DJ was called The Wizard, he was always mixing and scratching the song Kiss. So I ended up, I don't know how I got the album, but I ended up getting access to it, and I listened to it, and it was cool. I watched your videos, and I was like, okay, that's cool. So when I learned that you had disbanded Revolution, I was like, okay. Then you came out with Sign of the Times. I liked the whole album. My most favorite song on there was I Can't Take the Place of Your Man. Gonna Be a Beautiful Night. I like that one. The whole album itself, I liked it, but I always have like songs that you come out with that are my most favorite, and then the other ones they end up, growing on me and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, no big deal. So that was cool. Unfortunately, I lost my sister that year, so it was kind of bittersweet when I ever hear that album. It's kind of a mixed feeling, happiness and sadness. So it wasn't until I heard Love Sexy that I actually started to pay attention to you from a lyrical perspective. As far as music was concerned, hands down, you got my attention. I was a full-blown fan. But I started paying attention to your lyrics more and understanding them when I listened to Love Sexy, the song Dance On, about get your money straight. So that inspired me to... I'm not going to say I wanted to be just like you, but you definitely inspired me. So I was like, okay, I got my hair done. I was about 100 pounds lighter, and I always played your music when women's came over, and one thing led to the next. So that was always cool when I put your music on. I never had a problem attracting women, but when I put your music on, it just made me 1,000% more attractive to them, and one thing led to the next. But anyway. So at that time, I wanted to come out and get signed to a record label, but because of the song you explained called "Get Your Money Straight," I actually bought the book called "This Business of Music" that Berry Gordy used to build his Motown empire, and I studied that book from cover to cover because I not only wanted to be a one-man's band like you, but I also wanted the money that you made as well, because you enforced it in your songs. So, ran into a lot of problems with that. But, okay, so again, kind of leaked out. At this time, I'm working in Hazel Park, off of 9 Mile in Jarnar, in Hazel Park, Michigan. I'm like in my late teens. And I heard that you had an album called The Black Album. And at this time, they said the album was going for like $300. I met a woman that gave it to me for free. So I listened to it, and the song Grind was on there. Cindy C, Dead on It. What else was on there? Super Funky Califragisexy. When Two Are in Love. Bob George. Two Natives United for West Compton. By this point, I was so into your music, I didn't have any money to go to the studio. At that particular time, cassettes were the paramount ways that us in this society listened to music compositions. So I had two tape recorders. I made my own track, and I had already made songs. I made them so well. I was with a friend of mine named Will, and I almost got signed to a record label. And at this point, by the time that took place, you had just came out with the Batman soundtrack, Bat Dance. Nice composition. Let Me Fill You Up, nice one. Scandalous. A few other songs on there that, it was cool. I liked it. It was straight. So I'm like, okay, so at this point, I'm really paying attention to you. I mean, literally paying attention to you. Not just from a musical perspective, but from a business perspective. Most of all, at this point, I had started actually getting the courage to meet entertainment lawyers to talk about a record deal. And so you came out with Graffiti Bridge. That guy, his name was Tevin Campbell. The song, what was it? Round and Round, a world goes round and round, something like that, was being played a lot. And Thieves in the Temple was being played a lot. My sister Valanda, she had the album. She didn't care much for it. She gave it to me. I played it until it couldn't be played no more. So at that point, I was really, really, really into where you were coming from. I would say lyrical more than anything. So, which was cool. I was like, okay, well, this is how you do it. This is how you don't do it. At that time, I had been playing music by myself for so long, I didn't even care about a band. I was just that confident. I'm still a very confident person, but I was so confident, playing anything because bands were still relevant at that time, not like it is now. Anyways, so Graffiti Bridge, I like that. So at that point, you dropped Diamonds and Pearls. Daddy Pop, I like that one. Let me see, what else? I mean, I like the whole album, but Daddy Pop, that was cool. Money Don't Matter Tonight, that was cool. What else? It was cool. It was cool. I started making mixtapes of your music and was giving them away to the Lady Prince fans. They were losing their minds. They were loving it because they never heard anything like that. So then you came out with the Gold Experience, Pussy Control, and what was on there? March. What else was on there? Billy Jack Bitch. All That Glitter Ain't Gold. Endorphin Machine. I was really into your music. I'm still into your music, but I'm just saying how it all got to that. So that was a cool one. Emancipation, I got that one. That was dope. I like that one. It was over 42 songs on there. I like New World. I Don't Want to Be Somebody, something like that. I've listened to a lot of your music, so for me to actually remember and recite every title probably wouldn't be a good idea. But to put it to you like this, I definitely like your music. And I understood why you stopped playing that style of music that got you to become a mainstream superstar. I understood that. It made a lot of sense. So Crystal Ball had that one. That was nice. New Power Soul, I Ain't the One. That was nice. Rainbow Children. Nice. Excellent. News. Nice. 3121. Nice. Planet Earth. Nice. The other one that you had your girlfriend on, that was the 3 CD one. That was dope. I like that one. That was cool. Then I think 2110, they kind of didn't promote it and release it the way that it should have been. So I kind of didn't get a chance to, really listen to it like I wanted to. But All I can say is I'm glad that you are back with Warner Bros. You got your masters back. And like another fan on here, YouTube said, and I'm with him on that, is don't hold nothing back. Oh, you know what? I forgot. Chaos and Disorder. That was nice. Dinner with Dolores. What else was on there? I don't know. I mixed a lot of your music and made a lot of mixtapes and sold them, and I made a lot of hood money. I call it. It was a lot of table money. Yeah, Chaos and Disorder. That was dope. Um, let me see what other ones. Like I said, I just don't hold back. I was watching another video from the same guy said that they supposed to open up the vault and release officially music that has never been released, or even the ones that's been leaked out and ones that haven't. All I'm saying is come back out, come out with that real stuff that you've been coming out with all along. Because a lot of stuff that's out now is straight up garbage. It sucks. A lot of what I like about your music is very entertaining, very uh, futuristic, cutting edge, and very educational. Uh, I like to say thank you because if I hadn't listened to a lot of your music, I probably wouldn't own the business ventures that I own today. Because you covered a wide range of things. Like I like that song, "You Need Some Old School Company." When you said back in the day, when people would sing, it really meant something. Now it's just me. It's nothing. That's true. I agree with that. So yeah, come out with the real stuff like you were back in the day. Come out with it again. It's needed because today's music sucks. Thank you for your time and welcome back to Warner Brothers. Prince. Thank you.